pour into and then pour out. That was a big gulp. Okay. I want to discuss what that means. To pour into something and then to pour out. Let's begin. I believe and I know that when I pour out what is all that I know, all that I am, it helps people to see a different version of reality. Because not everyone is the same. Not everyone follows the same road. No. But when you follow the same people, the same road, well, you see the same things, you hear the same things, you all know the same things. Some even may wonder, is what you're hearing what you're actually supposed to be hearing? To me, it's simple. Just follow your own road so that you could follow your own voice, your own sound. Make it, create it. So me pouring out what has been poured into me is important. Just like we all choose to watch and follow people and things for inspiration, motivation. You also have to know that you yourself is a brilliant star. Brilliant in your own light. But you have to believe it. You have to show it. You can't hide it. You shouldn't. It doesn't make sense unless you're hidden, you know? But even still, when you're hidden or you're laid somewhere and punishment, you still shine your light, right? You still be exactly what makes you you, what makes you different. And what makes you different is you being among someone else. Just as that person among you is different, because no one is you. No one is them, but their selves, their own. You have to find yourself. You have to trust yourself, and you have to just know. If you don't know, then you're lost. And you look elsewhere in other people to be that light for you, to guide you. And we may all need guiding. We all need guiding light from the guider. We know who that is. But while we're here, as we help our brethren and our sistren, when we help them, being of service, being of servitude, being what most people would say, having humanity. Okay, well, then I care. I care for my fellow human. I'm supposed to help you, guide you, if you need so. If you need so. But that's if you need so. We're all supposed to be lights in this darkness, right? There's verses that speak about being a lantern or being a light, pretty much the message that keeping oil, having extra oil to stay awake. You see, if you don't understand that verse, well, that's why you have people like me that can edify it in a down to earth way, as in interpretations. That's all that it means. You have to stay awake for yourselves. Understand me? And when, according to the bridemaids or the maidens, well, when it was time for the bridegroom, when he appeared, they were all sleeping. But here's the thing, there were some that still had extra oil, and there was ones that didn't. Do you understand that the oil was to keep you awake, keep you lit, keep your body lit, not dark, keep your eyes lit, not dark, keep you seeing, keep you knowing. That's why it's good to have an extra oil. Always keep burning, keep awake. So, yes, we all are here to help each other, but come on. Come on. Let's not forget the basic. I need to have oil for myself. I'm not going to expect anyone to help me. Not that they have to, not that they're obligated. Again, it's a nice thing to do. It's something we're all capable of doing. And we definitely more so can if we have extra oil to lend a helping hand. But to expect and to feel entitled because you don't have any oil, because you don't believe in yourself, because you don't you don't light up the darkness. That all starts with you. Because if we were to just give you oil and oil and oil and light the way for you, who's doing the work? They're doing the work for you. And that's not acceptable when we're all here trying to fight the good fight. So many fights and battles. Some lose, some win, some have to repeat it. But we're all fighting battles spiritually, physically, every day, little things, big things, people, things, places, context to everything. So many battles. Yes, you can subtract some of those battles by your choices, right? I've spoke about this in a prior live. Simple life is simply just you. And that may not be an option for most because no one really likes to be alone. But all I'm saying is that yes, to have less things that you have to fight. Well, you can control most things in the physical. That just means who I hang around, who I choose to invite into my world. And if I don't choose to invite anyone into my world, then it leaves me to just be at war with myself and have to deal with my own problems and face my own reflection and self evaluate, as I like to say. And that's a beautiful thing. But again, to reach that, it takes isolation, it takes choice, it takes sacrifice. It so many ways to say it, but that's what you can control. All the other battles are spiritual, and all the other battles are outside of myself. And again, there is one within myself. So, to make it simple for yourself, it'd be wise. But again, can you subtract? Can you take away? That right there just reminded me of a verse when he said, and I'm going to say it in my own words, I'm not trying to butcher it, but he was referencing how, how hard it would be for a rich person to get to heaven. That it'd be easier for a horse to for like a see something about a needle, the eye of a needle, like it's easier for the horse to, yeah, that. And versus a rich man, because the rich man wouldn't want to sell all his goods, all his possessions and things like that, because Jesus says that, to get to heaven, and not even just to get to heaven, but you want to know what heaven is? I'm going to use my own words too. It's to give all that you have away and come walk with me. Can you do that? And if you understand what that means, some would because they have been walking with him, but it would be harder for him to, because certain spirits like that rich man, they have those things and they keep them for validation. Yeah, that's tough because you know they they trust in it. They believe that it can save them for some reason. But so losing my train of thought. My window's open. uh, but yeah, so just on that topic alone, my spirit personally doesn't like things. I've mentioned this in my testimonies on my channel. I can buy something nice, think it looks nice, but when I wake up or I start to realize where these things are, I feel cluttered. It needs to be one thing. Like, if that one thing is a bed, let it be so. That's all I need. Because when I don't have anything distracting me, I can remember. I can remember a lot of things. It's just when there's so much things around. Yeah, they are called distractions, but it's deeper than that, because now it's spiritual. And my spirit is awake, so I'm awake to my spirit, that we're in alignment. And when I see things, possessions, right, it doesn't have to be just things, because I could have a messy room at times, a messy dresser. That's fine. I mean, that's still bothersome, but I speak about more of like possessions, like furniture and hanging things on a wall, trying to decorate something, and it's like, let it be bare, let it be naked, let me see it. That's what my spirit wants. And so through the years, these 10 years that I've been here on my own, since I was 19, I've been through counter of things, counter of furnitures, bed sets, yearly, I'd say, okay, well, I don't need the metal bed. I want a wood bed. I would try to make so I would try to make it make sense. Like, okay, well, I like natural things, so I'll invest in a wooden bed. And then I got the wooden bed, and then a few months later, I said, take this away. I don't want it. My bed needs to be on the floor. And I've had my bed on the floor before. This is not the first time. And then I had to pick my bed back up, only because I kept dropping water on the floor and my mattress kept getting wet. So, and that's just the mattress. I've had couches, I've had dressers, I've had tons of things. And I always end up giving them away. Not years later, no, like weeks, months after paying all this money for it. You see, I'm not doing it because Jesus said that if you give all your possessions away and walk with me, you'll enter the kingdom. No. I just happened to stumble upon that verse. No, I do it clearly because I don't like my spirit doesn't like it. I might like it at one point in time, right? I'll see a picture of it and say, "Oh, that looks nice," a Pinterest, and say, "Oh, let me try this, let me try that." I'm trying all these things that are not originating from me, right? Because if I can think of me and my dream, what's in my dream? Nothing. Nothing but me. So I'm looking for something, I'm trying to fill something with all these things. When really it's just me that I'm trying to find, I'm trying to be. But living in a physical, spiritual world, this is the loop and the illusion of it. You know, so many possessions and outside validation that they plaster in your face for that reason. Distraction. Distraction from oneself. Because if your spirit could be loud enough for you to hear it, you'd know that it doesn't need any of these things. Not for this, not for that. It doesn't need it, period. It doesn't want it. The soul doesn't want it. Most of the time, if I am getting something, I might have thought about someone, like, oh well, if someone comes over, then they'll have somewhere to sit and they'll have this to look at. When no one comes over. No one comes over. We have no friends. So it could be just doing it for other people, for their sake, for their comfortability. And when you start living for you, really living for you and everything, you start to realize how free that is. How free, how there is nothing that you need. There's nothing that you've not even wanted these things truly. You start to realize, you know? I mean, my goodness, I've been through blenders, juicers each year. Because I'll see on Pinterest something and they're juicing. I'm like, oh, let me get a juicer again. I'm like, there's a reason why we didn't want it the first time. And each time I'm not really, I'm learning my lesson, but I'm not. I'm still going back. Understandably, right? I understand. I know what I'm doing. I'm awake to it. But at the same time, I am forgetting. Every time I'm awake, I am still asleep. Every time that I remember, I'm still forgetting. And that's the imperfection. That is the me being a spirit and also being human. Because I know better, and I, just like most people know better, but we get, the flesh gets the best of us. Or it could be mind over body or body over mind. I mean, it's a fight. And who's going to give in? Am I going to order this cheesecake again? When I told myself no. And, I can't even trust myself. It's the fight with oneself. And it's, you give yourself grace, but my God, when are you going to give yourself accountability? When? I speak for myself. I can say, oh, I spoil me. I do, especially when no one but yourself. Of course you are. Of course you will, and of course you have to. But there's a thin line to where things can become unhealthy. And now you have to tell yourself no. And now you have to see you can't trust yourself because you don't want to tell yourself no. And sometimes you don't when you know you should. Or you just give in. Like, who's in control? No. Yeah. So, I actually take the time to, I mean, I've had all this time. Truthfully, I've had so much time to just be with myself, even before I knew it, even before I knew anything, even before I knew what was happening, before I knew what he was doing. It was a familiar place. This is a familiar place. And each year you get older. Just 365 days. That's it. Are you learning something? No, but you're getting older. You're a year older. I'm 30. I'll be 31 tomorrow. That's where you see age doesn't matter. That is where you see it doesn't. There's places where it does, of course, but that's where you see, if you're not learning what is age really, well, you leave age to the body. You leave age to the aging body. You can't put age with spiritual growth, maturity, until you actually do. We can leave age with rules and regulations. What's right, what we know is right, and what's wrong. As far as age limits with things, the difference between a child and an adult. Yes, there is importance there. But when it comes to aging, your age and maturity, trying to validate that you are wise because you're older, no. We only get 365 days. And I could spend 365 days alone in my sanctuary. I could be growing, or I'm not growing. I could be all knowing and studying, or I'm not studying. But hey, 365 days came and now I'm a year older. I'm just getting older in the body. But is my spirit growing? That's what it comes down to in the end. Because when your body is weak and you're on your, I don't know, your last breath, what's fighting for you? What's willing to fight when everything else is tired and weak and worn out and dying? The body. It's your spirit. It's our beautiful spirit. It's our strong-willed, free spirit. Do you see the precious part of you? I'd say every part of you is precious, but do you see the spirit calling out? How precious is the spirit? how precious do you, and as you should, take care of it, because it's trying to take care of you. While we only have but so much time in this body, it's still trying to. And I only say trying because it does what it's supposed to do. It's always calling out. It's always here to listen. It's always here to remind us. We can seek in ourselves and our souls. It could guide us if we listen to oneself and the knowing inside of ourselves. It could take us places. It could show us things. It could remind us what sunshine was, a breezy day, blue skies, early morning breeze, birds chirping, greenery. It could remind you of it, and not just in a through sight. No, you would know by the feeling of it. You'd say, I felt this feeling before. I was here before. And they'd say, well, how do you know? You know, because there's greenery, there's blue skies over there, and there's blue skies over here. And I say, well, because I feel this familiarity. It's taking me back. It's giving me deja vu. It's giving me a memory. And that sparks inspiration. There it is. It awakens. Because then you see that vision and the reality that you're in. But it takes you away from it just for a second. And it's not a TV, it's not a movie that you're watching. It was your own soul, your own memory that did the work for you. It's been working for you. But we may not give it a chance when we are given these things from outer places. Like, oh, look at this, see this. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it used to be. Well, I don't remember it being that way. Well, that's because you have your own memories. What has been poured into you, you can pour back out to them. Just as they're pouring out to you, do the same then. Everyone's life is significant. Everyone should feel that they're brilliant. So why wouldn't you think that your memories matter? There's people that talk about the past in a not so good way. Like, oh, you need to move on. No one's ever said that to me now. No one ever really says anything to me because you know why? Because for one, I do my own thing. And also because well, well, I do feel like they wouldn't have anything to say. It'd be them needing to listen. That'd be the wise thing to do. But no one has ever said that to me, but I've heard it before, like just move on, those type things. And it's like it depends. It depends. And that's what I mean. You don't know why a person's reflecting, but it's necessary until it isn't in their life. Also, I do know that I don't know that person, they don't know me. Whereas in their story, they could be lying. They could be trying to play victim. Who knows, right? But I'm not here to speak about those type of people. God will handle them. I'm speaking about the people that reflect on their past because it would change the world because it's necessary. That when I reflect on my past, it opens doors. It confirms things. It makes people see who I've always been, who I am, and people like me. So I don't consider myself a victim, but I actually was the truth and being the truth and speaking the truth. So there's a difference where reflection is important. I don't worry about telling my truth. I don't worry about telling my dreams, what I believe, my philosophies, my mind, pouring out what has been poured into me, whether that was through darkness, love, betrayal, like God, all things. What I hold, I bear on the surface for people to witness if they choose, if the shoe fits. But I don't worry about people stealing, taking away. I don't worry about those things. I know that some people don't like to share because they feel like once you share your dream, someone's gonna try to take it away. And I mean, I understand what they mean, but I don't think that way because, truth be told, when you share such a dream like mine or what I believe and how I see a world, it takes away from all the other influences. It takes away from all the things that most people are following. Something different. So I find it to be needing for me to reflect, for me to tell who I am and to tell my dreams and just speak. I'm not worried about someone trying to take my seat or crown. How can they do that? Oh, well, because they're gonna steal your dream or try to be you, or they can try. That's the thing. They can't be me because I'll always be the original. And that's when you win. You don't have to worry because when they're taking from you and from them, I'm sorry, when they're taking from other people, when they're taking from the originators, they can only they only have but so much time because once we stop speaking, they don't have anything to do. They don't have anything to use. And that's just here, let alone in heaven. Now in heaven, there's no question. God's not gonna, is gonna put up with that. He's not gonna accept that. You're not gonna get any reward for it. You're not gonna get a crown for being an imposter, for being. Mm-mm. So I don't worry about what I share, and to be afraid that people are going to take what I say and use it in their way. That's what they're supposed to do. But they'll still never be me. And that's the thing. That's okay. At the end of the day, you just want to know that who you are and what you inspire to be is true. That's how I feel. I don't inspire to be anyone else. So when I speak what I speak, it's truthfully from me. And if someone takes from that, then they're just not being original to themselves, but just want to be similar to me or to you and what you believe. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't stop a person from shining their light, sharing who they are and their philosophies, what they see, what they believe, what they know. And that's the problem with the world. You want to be stingy. You want to keep everything to yourself and keep it hidden. See, I don't hide things. I would never hide myself willingly. And I know my father knows that. So he would have to do it for me. Because I have a big mouth. I'm a talkative person and I want to talk. I like to talk. I like to express. I'm not a quiet person at all, but I have been able to be quiet because I've been in a desolate place for a long time. Again, not by my will, because naturally I am the opposite. But he has done these things, and so all I'm saying is, just as the verses I feel speak of it, you don't hide a light, not by your own will. And if a light is hidden, then there is a reason. But it shouldn't be by your doing. Do you understand? And obviously, I have my own testimony to understand it. I am a light, but I'm not in the world. I'm not doing worldly things like I could have or could be doing. No, if you find me, you find me. If you hear me, you hear me. If you see me, you see me. To me, I feel like when you're younger, when you're a child and you need authority and discipline and training, he does that. He does the hiding for you. He does the punishment. He does the prison. He does it. However he does it, he does it. And then when you get older, after all of that training, he doesn't even have to hold you back. The world shows you. The world does what it's supposed to do, right? And the people in it, the people from it. As in, now that I'm older, I'm free, right? I could do whatever I want to do. But I don't. Because the world, and you say, I see, Father, I see. All the things that you were doing, all the things that you've kept me from, me not being a regular child and having a regular childhood, me being punished in a room every day for years and years and years, constantly prohibited me from going outside and making friends and community and all of that, and being around family and knowing what that feels like when they celebrate festivities on these holidays. No, I didn't have any of that. When they'd have Christmas and I'd be upstairs, no gifts, every holiday. And now I'm an adult and I choose not to celebrate these holidays. Not because I was excluded from them, but also because like I know exactly that they're not necessary. That's it. They're not necessary. Whatever happened on these actual days is whatever happened. And I'm sure something did, but even beyond that, why am I celebrating something just of one day because someone said so? No. You celebrate what you celebrate every day. If you're so proud of your culture, of this, then celebrate it every day. Being able to be excluded hurt it, but then it turned into the greatest thing because it allowed you to start to sit back and see. With me not having any possessions, not given gifts, and being part of these holidays and festivities, I didn't receive anything. But now that I'm older, I see what is the importance of possessions. And this is when the books close, let alone the verses that speak of it. I have realized without the verses, but to bring the verses in, it's a confirmation. I say, look what you have done. So you see punishment and prison and isolation and being set apart as the grand scheme of it, just seeing the reason why it was all worth it. Now, at the time, you felt everything of what it would feel like in a world where you're the odd thing. And you don't understand what makes you odd necessarily. And that's how real it is, because you don't know, because you don't see what other people may see, what they may think is a threat. You don't think any of those things because you want to care and love and just be a part of something. Because all you know is that this is the family. This is family. You start to sit back after all the not understanding and see why the verses make sense to you. That this is the family I put you in. I know where I put you. You read that verse and you say, I knew it. Because I could say all day long, I don't understand why this person treats me this way, even though they're this person to me, this blood relations. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. And it's making you angry and it's making you sad and it's making you turn into this different version, right? It's depressing you. Literally, it's depressing your spirit because now you're broken. They've done broke you down spiritually, emotionally. You know, when you're isolated, when they isolate you. When they mute you because no one speaks to you. No one wants to hear. No one cares. Because at this part in your life and at this time, you're wrong and they're right, and you're small and they're big, and this is their house and this is their rules, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter here. Fear, see, oof, I'm getting the revelation right in this depiction. In this place, there is no fearness. In this place, there is no justice. And I got this depiction just in the beginning, in your own family, let alone in the world. This was the beginning of it, the introduction of the message. Because boy, oh boy, this, you would have been in a rude awakening if you did not realize or come to realize this or have this training when you were younger. So that's my point. All of this happening to me not understanding, me just going through this, becoming the black sheep, as they'd call it. And then as an adult and see the world as it is, to not be surprised, to not be angry, to not feel sad or feel FOMO, fear of missing out. No, I've seen these things. It is all familiar. See, he prepped me, and that's why I always give the grace and honor to him, because that's how he trained me. That is why I don't hate my adversaries, even though they're the ones that I seen physically treat me unfairly. But truly, it's what made me who I am. Like it not even what made me, it's what kept me, like, it's what kept me safe. It's what kept me humbled. That's a whole nother topic. I don't think that I'm a pride, like a, well, let me say it the way I was gonna say it. I think that coming from a world that, let's just say these are two different worlds, and I come into this world and it's all foreign, just like you'd think if you were an alien. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, I'm prideful," but truth be told, pride meant the greatest thing. To be, to be prideful, to be bold, to be confident, to be like all knowing who you are and proud of that was a great thing. And then, so to have that, because it's part of who you are, and then to come into this world with all of who you are, that's a lot. I'm sure that's a lot, but as a kid, I'm not thinking that people would view me that way, because I don't know anything, right? I don't remember that, oh, I was gonna be a threat here, and oh, I'm on a mission and I have a duty to do to fulfill the purpose of the Father and to be a worker and to all this spiritual business. I'm a kid, and I'm in a kid's place. And back then they kept you in that place for a good reason. A child stays in a child place. We get the message, because just as the flowing of times, you see how that has kind of dissipated, and for good reasons, and also the not so good things that come from it. But back then it was easier to see the message that if a child is needing to be in a child place, and that means that child is not ready for the things that I have in store for them. But until that time, though, we will prep this child and patience, step by step. It wouldn't be thrown at them, just as now in these different times a child is now seeing and all knowing everything. And I said a child, they know what we know, literally the fruit of good and evil. We were still shielded from those things. at some point in time back in the day. But so I say this not in cold, but at the same time I simplify it. You come into this world and you're clearly a light, and you just don't understand why you're being isolated. You can try to make sense of it, like, oh well, maybe because I'm very talkative and I'm loud and I'm loud and I'm wild and I'm all those things. I'm hyper. So yes, those things can contribute to it, like, oh, I'm being too loud, or I'm talking back to one of my older cousins, cuz but it still shows the bull in me. It still shows my integrity, even though those are great things and heavenly eyes, right? Like, and then on top of that, I'm just a child, so I'm a child, right? Where is the control? I need discipline. But not that anyone should change me though, right? And that's the thing. God doesn't want to change me. He just wants me to be aware. He wants me to start to understand the world so that I can be a certain way accordingly. But not to change me, because I am perfect. Remember, I come into this world with joy. I was always laughing. I'm just a goofy person. I'm always talking. And it's still who I am, of course, but this was in the beginning. This is how you know who you are. And then you see that instantly what makes you great in God's eyes is what is your downfall here. Like, you being goofy and loud and talking and very, what's the word for it? Headstrong, opinionated. People don't like it. Understandably, right? You don't have to, but as a child, you don't understand. You don't understand the power in the tongue, the power in being opinionated, the power in speaking back, the power in speaking up, the power of speaking up against someone, whether they're young, old, black, white, it doesn't matter. You don't understand, because as a child, you're just of the consequences, whether they were fear or not. And that is what God wanted me to see. And that is what I've seen. Because it didn't matter. I can make bad grades, which is understandable to put me on punishment. But see, that was gonna help it. But every day I was in the room. Every day. I probably could count on my fingers how many times I was in the room in a year, right? That's how much it was isolation. So of course, when reports card came around, it was just going to add to it. Of course, I was still on punishment. So, and here's the thing, I never received when I would get off. So again, it was just an ongoing thing. It was just an everyday thing. And so, of course, every season there's holidays, and the family he put me in, well, the holidays were at the house that I was raised in. And all the family came, and I was always in the room. And I would hear them say, because no one could ever come in the room. Well, no one ever did. They would have to actually come upstairs to do that. But I'd hear them say, dang, she's always in the room. Mind you, these are my blood relation cousins that I've never actually had relations with, but they've heard of me, they've known of me, but never knew me. So as the years progressed, I got older, but this was the tribulation that I was still in. So each year, my joy was less. I became muted, quieter, just stuck in that. And it was heartbreaking. I guess most people would call it depression, but I mean, listen, call it depression, but spiritually, it was that my spirit went deep inside me and it was crushed. That's it. Depression is, I wasn't stuck. I was still willing. I was watching my spirit be crushed. That's not that's not depression. I know what depression is. This is a spiritual thing that's happening. Or at least it was. So I woke up one morning or one day and I couldn't snap out of it. I couldn't change it. This was just a new version of me. And what made it worse was that I was older. So now the expectation was probably more expected. People expected things from me. Like, I don't know, to try to understand, maybe just to be me. I don't know if they ever seen me. Because I say that because why do you have expectations for someone you don't know? Is there something that you don't? Is there something that I don't know that you know? I say they had expectations for me because of the way that they were harsh with me going through my whatever it was, my period of being inside my mind, inside my body. I was still trying to wrap my head around why I couldn't change how I felt, why I was still sad. And, even after I've been taken from a place of darkness, I couldn't shake it. And so it left for people to see that and to take it how they wanted to take it. And unfortunately, people took that as rude and unappreciative. And that was heartbreaking. Because remember, I never chose this. And myself, my soul is probably crying out saying, I'm jolly, I'm happy, I'm talkative. I know that's who I am, and I know that about myself, but that's not what's reflecting. It's almost like that's what we used to be. And no one sees, no one cares, no one remembers, no one wants to give that mercy. No one, like it's not time for it, and that's the way God made it so for me. He's made it so tough, like tough love was given to me. And it's crazy because I'm a tough person, but in my heart, I'm not, like, I'm a giver. Like, I can't be, I'll say tough love is the best way only because that's how I was raised, but I'm very gushy. I love the babies, it's a yes, 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 yes for me. I'm a pushover, truly. I only think that tough love is necessary when it comes to structure, but when it comes to just love and understanding and grace and mercy, there's no toughness. There shouldn't be no toughness with that. That's just some fairness to me. So again, he's shown me that I had tough love, but I also had unfairness. and injustice be done to me. And see, this is even before I become this person to see the world. This is all familiarity to me because it has already happened. So I know what has been done, what is being done, because it was done to me. So I'm not surprised that the world is unjust. I'm not surprised that it treats you unfairly, even though you are who you should be. I say, I know exactly what you mean, because it started in my own family, right? And then when you read the Bible, it says it was a person that was eating with you, sitting next to you. It was a person in my own circle, my own friend, my own. And then you read verses like, you're going to put me first. And you say, God darn it, you're right again. And it's not because I wanted to put God first. It's not because he told me to. It's because I had no choice. I don't speak from hatred. I speak because I have no choice but to confess the truth. Because people have made it so this way. At least in my story, I don't play the victim. I say what I do, but truly what did I truly do but be me? Yes, in a world of my own, in my own choices as an adult, I can do some things. But what truly can you do as a child and a teenager? What bad can you truly do but be just you? Okay? So that's my testimony. That these things have been done to me. And the reason why I don't hate my adversaries, even though that's written, do not hate them. I know why I don't hate them, because look at what it's done to me. Look at what it has made me. Like, here's the thing. There's no credit given to them. No, I'm saying that I just don't hate them. I don't give credit to them because it is God that has done it to me, right? It has been done, Father. The will has been done. And that's all that they did, right? They didn't raise me. They just made sure to be that authority. Like, okay, well, tell her to go in the room. You know, they were the ones, like the gatekeepers, making sure no one goes in and or out. She doesn't go in and out. That's it. They didn't raise me. They didn't teach me. They didn't love me. They didn't care for me. They didn't talk to me. They didn't have conversations with me. None of those things. So there's no credit given to them. I'm just glad that they did it. I'm glad that they held their ground and was unfair to me. And I also say that because I came into this world with being who I am. So no one has made me into this. No, what has happened was he had broken me down, crushed me in spirit, because I was already who I was. Very loud, jolly, talkative, bold, confident. Something that I assume now most people didn't have. But who assumes that, right? I'm older, so I now know that. But these are the things I had when I was young. This is not something I just became. Like, oh, I've just become confident, or I've just become bold, or I've just become loud and talkative. No, I've been like this. I talked so much that I would stutter. I talked so much that my granny would say, I wouldn't even know what you'd be talking about. Because I guess it'd be mumble jumble, you know, you the motor mouth, you know. And I get that way sometimes when I'm excited. But it's just all beautiful. the version of me I see. I really do see me, and I do hold myself to be precious. I do. And I see what God sees. I see it. Even though the world, whether they seen it or not, they didn't choose to give me that. They didn't choose to toot my horn. They didn't choose to build me up. They didn't choose to credit me, right? So it humbled me. Not that I thought that I was anyone, but it humbled me because it changed me. It tried to change the structure of me, the essence. And it hurts to feel like you're not liked or wanted. Something's wrong with you. Like you're the problem, you're bad because you speak up, you talk up. Not that you're disrespectful, because I'm not even a cursor, I'm not. See, I don't have to explain the obvious. When they say bad, they don't mean, oh my gosh, she's just bad. We know what bad is. But when you're the black sheep, they'll just call you these things. And when you grow older, when most people grow older, they'll know. You don't have to go back and ask them. You don't have to validate anything. No, people will come to realize, they will come to whatever they come to, their revelation though, that the black sheep was exactly who they were supposed to be, and there was nothing wrong with them, and that they've gotten this treatment and these things thrown at them, these titles, for what? Let God finish it for you, but I don't need him to. You see, close the book. Because you can open your eyes and you can meet one and you can see exactly why they were treated the way they were, why they were seen as bad and good as bad and bad as good. You can see why someone will label them those things, because they didn't want others to see their true reflection. So if they could blame anyone, they'd put it on this person. And it just happened to be the light of the world. The darkness itself did not want people to see how dark they were, even though I'm sure people knew. I'm sure. But it's funny, because that's the thing. It comes down to the people. You've seen everything. You've seen the darkness. You've seen the darkness try to hide from its own darkness. You've seen how the darkness tried to dim the light, tried to make the light seem dark. But that is a whole nother topic, and that's a whole nother judgment that you'll have with the Father. But overall, I have lived this life this way. And each year, 365 days, you get older. That's the only different. But you still remember. Yes, things fade because time does go on, but I mean, god dang, it happened. And I feel like some people think that because the more time goes by, people are just going to forget. Yes, some will. And I think also people feel like, oh, when they get a certain age, they shouldn't be judged. They shouldn't be questioned, or like they feel some type of entitlement because they're old now. Old where? In the flesh? Because your spirit still is well aware. You may not know on the surface. But regardless, it doesn't matter whether they do forget, they get Alzheimer's or dementia. They will be all judged by God. And whether they forget in this timeline, They will all come to see the face of God and the Spirit and be exposed, and they will remember, because there will be no sickness or diseases. There won't be no, oh, I didn't remember or I didn't do it. No, you dang sure know you did it. You dang sure have no choice but to reflect and see it. So that's where my toughness comes from. I'm not a masculine, like, trying wanna be tough person. Like, no, I just have very tough ways when it comes to integrity. I can speak up. And yes, as a woman, it may not seem as feminine, but what is feminine then? Because if that's not feminine, then I'm not speaking of femininity. Then I'm speaking of a being, right? I'm just speaking of a soul. I'm just speaking of a warrior. Like, it has nothing to do with gender. When you've gone through things and you've conquered and you have now the chance to testify about it, well, how do you think it's going to sound? How do you think the person's going to feel? How do you think they're going to look, saying it proud? They're going to sound aware. They're going to sound experienced, knowledgeable, wisdom. And if you feel intimidated, that's your business. But I'm not trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable, nor am I trying to take anyone's place or anyone's seat or anyone's crown, nor am I trying to take gender, swap masculine, I don't, what is this? So that's where I come in, and I have to speak because I know exactly what and who I am. And I know exactly what people feel they think masculine and feminine is. And it's just like, okay, but have you met a warrior? Maybe if you meet a warrior, then you would understand. But since there's not many warriors in this world, or it's not publicized, women warriors at that, people all just think we're all the same. Like, oh, if I'm speaking up, then I'm just masculine. No, I'm speaking up because I've always spoken up. And you're not the first to ridicule me, because it happened in my own family. So now that it's happening in the world, am I gonna be sad? No, I'm gonna be disappointed, but something inside me gonna say, I've been here before, and I know what this is. I know this spirit. And yeah, I might not know it all fully, but I know. So then when I read a verse and it speaks about it, I say it's confirmed. That's it. Close the book. You should be bear witnessing. You should be a walking testimony. I always emphasize that. So what has been poured into me, I pour into the world. But if you want me to stay hidden, if you want my father to just keep me punished and isolated, and then you're a fool. Because that sucks for me. That hurts me. that means I'm tamed and restrained. It means a lot of things. It means that the darkness is thriving. It means that they have more authority than ever. No, you want me to pour out what has been poured into me. You need me to carry what I've been carrying. You need me to drink this cup. You need me to keep drinking it until I no longer have to and can pass it. When you come to know a black sheep, you come to know why it's needed. Why it's so important for them to be poured into. With all the things that God has in store for them, tribulation, trials after trials after trials, for you to pour out to you. And I'll leave it there.